Hey, welcome to Epic Genealogy. I'm Mark. I think I've got something special here. And I talked a lot recently about always looking at the rest of the document, look at all the names. And also, if you're on a census record, I'll give a little preview there, a census record like this, to look at the pages before and the pages after, because they're dealing with a particular neighborhood and there may be something special in it. And I think I got something special here. Now, I was actually looking for more information regarding Antonio Buzzetta. And of course, he's related to my great grandparents, not too close, but fourth cousin. And he did immigrate like they did to Brooklyn. So I was looking for information about him, and I stumbled upon this. And so if I will blow this up over here. So I believe we've got the right guy here. It's Antonio Buzzetta. The age lines up. He's 34 in 1905. This is the 1905 New York State Census. And a little extra information here. Those who have done genealogy for a while know that there is a big gap in the federal census, which is every 10 years. Let's say 1850, 1860, okay? Well, unfortunately, due to a fire, the 1890 census is pretty much gone. So there's a 20-year gap, which... if you're into genealogy, that could be really bad. That could be a serious brick wall there. However, if your family like me are familiar, if they're from New York, we're very lucky because they're the 1892 New York State Census. So that's one of the things that I ask people when they've hit a brick wall and they say, look, I can't find anything past 1900, and because there's no census, it's really difficult. Is your family from New York by chance? Yeah. We're in luck. 1892. So here I'm looking at the 1905 census. I think I got the right Antonio. So his wife's name is Maria Grazia. And so that is Americanized to Grace. And I'm pretty certain that I have got the right guy. The age lines up. So what interests me here is just you go down, and right next to it is Ambrosio Cataldo, who is listed as a brother-in-law, who is also from Italy. Now, I know that Antonino Buzzetta is from Carini, Sicily, which is where mia familia are from. So I'm fairly certain that his brother-in-law, who is about the same age, born about the same time, 1870, he probably is also. It would be pretty odd that he wasn't. But then we've got this Michael Gambino. Now, unfortunately, this is actually on Emmett Street. Now, Emmett Street is right near the docks in Brooklyn. Actually, isn't even there anymore. It is unfortunately now. I always like to get the houses, some pictures of the house, but they don't exist anymore. So here, Michael Gambino. Now, Gambino is a very common name in the Palermo area. Carini, Sicily being no exception. I mean, I got a lot of Gambino family. And just to show you how many Gambinos I have, we'll do a quick search on my tree. I have 380 Gambinos. That's a pretty good amount. And I got some that are really close to my great-grandparents. Atlantic Avenue, the same thing, unfortunately. You can see in this picture here, this is Atlantic Avenue. It's by the docks. So the houses or the buildings that were there, the apartment buildings that were there, they're not there anymore. But this particular area where it also see a Columbia Street. So right here by the docks, a lot of mia familia did live. So that's why I mentioned, if you're looking at a census record like this, we always want to look at the rest of the neighborhood, because immigrants, whether Sicilian or not, had a tendency to go to neighborhoods with friends and family that spoke the language. So here we've got Michael Gambino. So then I go up here, and there's another one here. I thought this was just interesting. We got Fabrizio, and so if you guys remember the movie Fabrizio.
Michele, aspettami lì, che vengo da sola fino da te.
So I scroll up here, and this is wow. So I already have a few down here that are my mia familia. Cataldo, I'm gonna go through. We're gonna see if Cataldo and Gambino if they're related, and from Carini. Chances are both. I scroll up here, and this has really got my attention. Look at the name. This is like a Carini roll call here. We've got Dominic Carollo, Antonio Badalamenti, Vincenza Candela, Vito Genova, Rosalino Candela. We have a Michael Di Maria. Well, Di Maria is really, it's a pretty common name in Italian and Spanish. Esposito. And then look at the top of it. I've said that Randazzo was a very, very common name. We got a Croce with his brother Frank and Joseph. See, if we go to the next page, we see right here, it's still Emmett Street. We got Marino, extremely common. I'm not thinking Marino is just too common a name. It could be. But it gets better. DeLuca, Pasquale DeLuca. Very common Carini name. Joseph or Giuseppe Schiarino. Oh, absolutely is a Carini name. Vincenza Amato. I know it's extremely common, but we're seeing a pattern over here. Right? Vincenza Amato. Or Vincenzo Amato. He's the brother-in-law. Now look at this. We got another Giuseppe Buzzetta, Pasquale Carollo, Sebastiano Buzzetta, and Antonio Cusamano. I don't think this is spelled right. Lanzetta, Joseph Ferrante, and those who are familiar with my channel, you're going to really recognize this. This is one of those that got me. Salvador Leduca. Remember, I did the video about Vito Leduca, who is a cousin or cugino to Mia Biznona, Ninfa Pecoraro, because her grandmother is Ninfa Leduca, and so she is like a first cousin to Vito Leduca, who, of course, is the gangster who was murdered back in Carini, who was part of the Morello gang. I think this is spelled wrong. This is probably because I saw Rogers at first. I'm thinking, oh, wow, that would be interesting. But it's Italy, so it's probably Ruggiero. We've got Rosalino Candela. That's, hey, Anastasio. We come on to the other side. We've got a Teresa Balsamo. And my Mio Biznona's mother is Caterina Balsamo. Got a lot of Balsamo family. So there's that. I know Balsamo is a really common Sicilian name, but we're talking about Atlantic Avenue by the docks. So there's a really good chance that this Teresa Balsamo is related to my great-grandparents. I would not doubt it. It's because my great-grandparents, they moved around a lot, as a lot of them did, and they did live on Atlantic Avenue at one time. Let's take a look. Now, at this. Let's start looking at some of these names. And I will point out that being from Carini, James Bianco and his team did a lot of the indexing with these with the records that are on Family Search. So now the records here on Family Search, they're not indexed, but they're fantastic records. And I've mentioned this before. You go to the search, go down to catalog, you punch in the name of the city. In this case, it's Carini, Sicilia. This pulls up, and you can get these records, and they go back to 1556. These are fantastic records. I've shown these before. This is a let's see what year. This is an 1814, a May 4th, 1814. Marriage record, and I just happened to land on Salvador Randazzo, who happens to share the name with mia nonno, Salvador Randazzo of Brooklyn. These records were then taken and they were put into these Excel documents, so they're searchable to a degree. So these are the baptism records, which I've been adding to, and then the marriage records. So we've got the marriage records. Tremendous job to James Bianco and his team. Tremendous job, which is why I'm able to have so many people, verified people, with the baptism records, marriage records. I'm able to do and have so many. So these are the records that I use together with the records I found on Family Search and Ancestry.com to be able to figure out if the people on the census records are indeed from Carini, Sicilia, and of course, if they are related. Now, I'm not going to go through all of the names on that I've already shown so far because it would take way too long and this video would last forever. But I'm going to go through some of the main ones. I've got to find out about Salvador the Duca. My gosh, he has to be related to me. Or he has to at least be from Carini. So I want to look over here. Again, this is Emmett Street in Brooklyn. Again, that doesn't exist anymore, which is really unfortunate. So let's take a look over here. We have Vito Genova, and he's 43 years old in 1905. That's going to put his birth year about 1862, 1863. So I'm going to go to my tree, and I'm going to just punch in Vito Genova. Now, I got over 24,000 people on the tree. I've been doing this a while, and so there's a good chance they're on my tree. You know, they're on my tree already. If they're not on my tree, then probably their parents are on the tree. So I'm going to type in Vito Genova. I got to do it right. Vito Genova. Oh, and right here, last one on the list. I don't have that many. Wow, I only have 5. But the last one on the list, 1861, which is putting him in the right time frame for our census record, which right here, Vito Genova is 43, and 43 from 1905, 1862. So it depends on when his birthday was. So it's looking pretty good so far. So let's take a look. We'll click on that. Oh, and when you look at this, look at his. So the first one out of the gate, first one, Vito Genova. His wife is Caterina Candela. So let's take a look back and see who is Vito Genova living with. He is living with Rosalino Candela and Vincenzo Candela. So what are the chances that, I know I just did the video about the Alamo Scout. Just because that says that doesn't mean it's true. There still needs to be more documentation, which I'll go through. So Vito Genova here is looking pretty good. Apparently he's living with his brother-in-laws. That's the way it looks right here. But we don't know yet. So let's go back up here. And I'll check out Caterina Candela. I'll go to the profile. I want to see her in the tree. Whoop. We'll see Caterina in the tree. Let's take a look. And there we've got Rosalino Candela. Let's see. He's not the only... Okay, so because of the high mortality rate, it's not always the one. Here we've got a Rosalino Candela, who is a brother-in-law. He is married to... so Rosalino is Caterina Candela's brother, so there's a good chance that it's the same. I know. Rosalino's not a very common name. It's like Sebastiano, not or Nunzio, or Nunzio, rather. It's not that common, so it's a really good chance that I have stumbled upon people who are family or from Carini on this particular census record. So we know that from here, we take a look. There is also a Vincenzo Candela. Well, is there another Vincenzo? And I know that's a common name. James, or Jens. And here we see that, of course, there is a Vincenzo Candela. Let's check to see if Rosalino and Vincenzo are the right ages for this. So let's go back to the census record. And Rosalino is 28, and Vincenzo is 22. Now, it depends on when their birthday is. That has them about 5 years apart. Here, they're about 3. So, again, it depends on when their birthdays were if we got the right guy. So, still can't necessarily confirm that there's the right one. But, man, it's looking pretty good. It's looking really good. Again, this is 1905, so it's probably a little early. It's probably before the wives came over. They're probably, like it says here, they are day laborers. So they're probably earning the money to send back to Sicily so that they can have their family join them. So it would really help now is if we can get a record with this Vito Genova, another record, let's say a military record where he's at the same address. What's unfortunate for us, so this particular census record is 1905, and another military record isn't coming around for 12 years. So it would be World War II. So he may not be at the same house. So we would have to get other census records and be able to confirm through the address whether we've got the right guy. I would say there's a 90% chance that this man, this particular Vito, he's living with his brother-in-laws, and his wife is a sixth cousin, which is fairly distant from Mio Bisnono, Pietro Randazzo, but he may be related to one of my other great grandparents. I just have my great grandfather Pietro Randazzo is the link for all the where the relations are given here on Ancestry. So we would need to find something so we could do a search. All right, so one of the things that comes up here, and I know it's a common name, but when we see here, this is an Ohio marriage record. It says the spouse is Catherine Candela. So we've got the right guy. So apparently they were either they went to Ohio or their son did. So let's take a look. Let's find our record. I think we've got the right guy. Caterina Candela is the mother. Vito is the father. And he and the son, Joseph or Giuseppe, is getting married in Ohio. It looks like it was Cleveland. So I think we got the same guy here. Let's take a look at some of the other records. I'm going to go ahead and save this. We've got another marriage record. And here we have Vito Genova, Caterina Candela. Probably the same people, and they have a son named Baldassare. I actually have an uncle. We called him Uncle Tony, but Baldassare. So we can check in the baptism records for Baldassare. Let's see if he's going to be the right age. He's 37, 19. All right, so he's about 1898. And we're looking for Baldassare. And we do have a 12 September date, 1895. So the age is a little off, which is not unusual to have the age off a little bit, but it seems pretty clear. We got Vito and Caterina Candela and their son. And we can also get the baptism record. We got a baptism record of 12 September, 1895. And then we've got it. We go again. I went to the records here for Carini, Sicilia, looked up 12 September, 1895, and that is Baldassare Genova's baptism record, but this still doesn't confirm that it's the same Vito that's on the census record. Again, Vito's a pretty common name. Let's do one other search just to see if we can confirm this. That's the 1905 census we already have. Seems that we're not going to be able to get any other records. I'm fairly convinced, based on the wife's name, the ages, and the wife's brothers, that we got the right guy. So I think what we do is we can move on. Let's take a look at some of the other names that we've got here. All right, this is on Emmett Street. It's on the same street. It's probably just a few buildings down. Let's take a look at this group of names here, which I'm fairly convinced already it has to be. We're going to start with Salvador Leduca. So we see he is listed as 37 years old in 1905. That puts his birth year about 1868. So we'll go back to Ancestry. I will type in Salvador Leduca, and we'll see what we got coming up. Vito Leduca was born in 1868. That was his actual year of birth. 1868. Let's see. We've got a Salvador Leduca that's 1867. Let's see what we've got. Married to a Nifa Marciano. Let's see what we got. So we've got one that the age is right, and he's more closely related to Mia Familia. He is a third cugino, 2 times removed from Mia Bisnona, Nifa Pecoraro. So this looks pretty good, and I've got some documents here. And that what's interesting is they will give you where they're going on their Ellis Island document. So we've got to find one. This is 1910. This may not work. We'll take a look and see what the address was and where he was going. So we got Salvador Leduca right there on line 6. We'll have to go to the backside. And he's going to see his cousin Croce Menino, and it is on Emmett Street, which is there in Brooklyn. And I'm not, it's right there in Brooklyn. So he's Emmett Street. And I think we've got the right guy. Again, I have to do more research to confirm that. So we'll go back to our census record here. So we've got Joseph Ferrante, who's the head of the household, who's living with Salvador. Maybe we've got another situation where his brother-in-law is involved here. So Joseph Ferrante is 29 years old in 1905, which is putting him about 1874, 1875 for a birth date. So let's see what we have for Giuseppe Ferrante. Probably going to be a lot. No, only 31. Let's see, do we have anybody with 1875? Right there at the bottom, 1875. He may not be the only one, but we'll take a look and see what we've got there. So this one is married to a Carolina Giambanco. Here he's coming in. This another a Giuseppe Ferrante is 1906, so it's a year after the census. So, but he may be going back to the same address. He may be returning to his address. All right, so we've got him down here on line 29. Really difficult to read. Can't make it out. But it's not Emmett Street, so that may not be for him. We may not have the right Giuseppe Ferrante. All right, so there's a good chance this Joseph Ferrante is not, but it looks pretty clear. It looks pretty good that Salvador Leduca is. All right, let's get back. Again, I think pretty certain that Salvador Leduca is the one from my family. So let's go where it's probably easier the more information that you have making a match. So here with the Joseph Sciarrino and Rosie, it does say that he's got a brother there. So that's going to make it should make it a little easier to determine. I think this will really lock up whether these names that I've pointed out are in fact from Carini and more likely are related to La Mia Familia. So we'll go and we'll look up. Okay, we got Salvador Leduca there. So we'll do a search. I will punch in Giuseppe Sciarrino. We'll go to this Giuseppe. I think we got a pretty good shot here. He has a brother Matteo that's 20 years old, which puts him in 1905, puts him at about 1885. So he is born about 1883. Again, we don't know when his birthday was yet. So it looks like we've got the guy. It's probably him. He's married to Rosaria Ferrante, and through the Carini records, he does have 2 daughters at this time. So we know that he's got a few daughters. One of them, the first one, died after only a month or so. Susanna, and that is Susanna because Susanna Monterosa is the grandmother. And then we have Filippa Sciarrino, and we have Rosaria. We'll check to see here. Masamudo, very, very big Carini name. So that's why the daughter is Filippa. I would imagine that any boys would be named Giuseppe and Vito. Well, we'll see what we find out. But what we see here is we got Vincenzo Amato, and he is the brother-in-law married to Giuseppe Sciarrino. And we see here that he is, Vincenzo Amato is there at the brother-in-law. So we've got a brother, Matteo, which not a common name. The wife's name is lining up. Suzanne and Filippa, the daughters, they're all lining up. I think that this is the guy. So a little bit of research does bear that out. So we'll do a search on Matteo, and we can already see here Maria Monterosa, which Maria Monterosa is his wife. Now, so we come down here for Matteo doing a search, and we see we've got Matteo Sciarrino, and it's February 9th, 1883, Carini. They're not always that good with the dates, but let's just check the record to make sure. Oh, and here we got definitely the right guy, Matteo Sciarrino, Carini, and he's living 10 to 12 Emmett Street, Brooklyn. And we look here, Emmett Street, we've got 11. So it shows here that this Matteo Sciarrino, he is living at 10 to 12. I forget, I don't know how to really make sense of that. The building and the street number in the building. But 10 to 12 Emmett Street, Brooklyn. I think we've got our guy because we go back here. The census record is 11. So the census record here has 11. So we've got the right guy. So this Giuseppe Sciarrino and Matteo are on my tree. So 10, 12 years later, he's still living in the same spot. But now he has brought his wife back, which they were married on 8 September 1908. So now we can confirm the Sciarrino family, and he's living there with Vincenzo Amato, his brother-in-law, who, of course, married Matteo and Giuseppe's sister, Giuseppe Sciarrino. And Vincenzo Amato actually is closer related to my great-grandparents. He is a third cousin once removed from Pietro Randazzo, mio bisnonno, because Pietro's mother is Vita Amata. So it's a common name, but here we've actually made the connection. So now we can show that quite a few of these so far are related to, not only from Carini, but they are related to my great-grandparents. They are part of Mia Familia. So let's go down the line. And now we have a Joseph Buzetta. there's a lot of Buzettas on my family tree. I could just plug that in here. We can see real fast just how many we have. And we'll go to Buzetta. I have 428. I know I got 20-some thousand, but 428, that's a lot, because most of the ones that I have on my tree are fairly closely related. So let's see how many. So we've got Giuseppe Buzetta. He's 48 years old. That's going to put him born in around 1857. So let's take a look. Let's take a look and see how many Giuseppe Buzettas that I actually do have on my family. I've got 31, so not too many. So we got to find one that is born about 1857. We've got one here, 1858. Let's see if he's the guy. Ah, you see, look at this. Look, is it any? Now I'm seeing this for the first time as applied as far as this particular census record is going. So it's really cool because you see the name Serafina Cusamano, and all right, and my great grandmother is Carini Cusamano. I know, an extremely common name in Sicily. Very, very common. Very common in Brooklyn also. But we have to keep in mind what we're looking at. Look at the census record. And Antonio Cusamano, who's living in the same same building as Giuseppe Buzetta, the head of the household. So the fact that Giuseppe Buzetta is married to a Serafina Cusamano, it stands to reason that we're going to find that Antonio is, in fact, a brother-in-law. Why he's not listed on the census as a brother-in-law, I don't know. Because Vincenzo Amato is. It may just be it's just a completely different one, and I just stumbled onto something. It's just a coincidence. But I don't know. It's a pretty big coincidence so far. So we can just look on Serafina's and see, take a look at her. We'll take a look at her siblings. I have to check the Carini records. They may not have filled in that part of the family yet, so she may have a brother, Antonio. They may not be, well, I'm pretty certain they're probably married at this time. So we'll go back. We'll see when Serafina married. She was married she were already married in 1884. So let's see if she has a brother, Antonio. This is the great records we have indexed by James Bianco and his team. All right, so I got the records here for Cusamano. We have to see the parents are Giuseppe and Maria Sassoni. So we look here, and they do, in fact, have a son named Antonino, 13 August 1867. And through the magic of editing, I will put all this in.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
He was born in Carini in August 1867. Does that line up with the age here? He was 30 years old. It's listed as 30 years old, so that would put him at 1875. Doesn't count it out that it's, that they get they got their ages wrong, but so we're going to have to find some more information to determine whether this Antonino Cusamano is the same one that's living in this building. It stands to reason that it is. So what I can do is I can check the marriage records for Antonio Cusamano. And he did marry a Carmela Aiello. So when we see here, spouse, he's arriving in 1909. He is married to a Carmela. Maybe this will have an address on it. So we're going to take a look through here. We got to find, wow. Line 10, Antonio Nino Cusamano. His wife is Carmela. He's going to New York. Check line 10 on the back. Right there, we'll blow it up. He is on Emmett Street. He's going to see his cugino, Pasquale Carollo. And Pasquale Carollo right there. We got the right guy. He is the right guy. So the Giuseppe Buzetta is from Carini and related. And his brother-in-law, Antonio Cusamano, is here. And, of course, Sebastiano Buzetta is Giuseppe's son. And I'll get to that in a second. So this travel document right here, that is our evidence. He's on Emmett Street, and he's going to see his cugino, Pasquale Carollo, which gives me another indication that, of course, Pasquale Carollo, Pasquale Carollo is also from Carini, but we'll get to that in just a second. I want to be able to, I'll save. This is, all right, so this is pretty cool. We got the whole section here. And it was Carmela Aiello. Unfortunately, Danny Aiello, who's a fantastic actor who passed away a few years ago, not Sicilian. But Aiello is a very, very common name. All right, so so now we can confirm that Antonino Cusamano did spend some time in Brooklyn. I'll fill in for Carmela's information after. Let's take a look. We got to get back to Giuseppe Buzzetta. And does he have a son, Sebastiano? Yes, he does. Born in 1885. And here he's listed as being 20 years old. So the age is right on the money. So Antonio's got his there was some fudging on the age, but because of everything else falling into place, and we got the Pasquale Carollo he's going to see, and it's on M Street, pretty certain that's the guy. So all these so far that we've looked at, they're all from Carini. This I think is just wrong. So I think we've done pretty good so far of showing how seeing how all the people in this neighborhood, how so many of the people in this neighborhood, not all of them, but so many of the people in the neighborhood are not only from Carini, but they're related to me. So here we have another Rosalino Candela. I'm convinced at this point he probably is, but we could take a look. We look at Caterina Candela, who is Vito Genova's wife. He's probably related there. So there's something we went and we saw on the other page. So we'll take a look at Rosalinda. He's 37 in 1905. So that puts him about 1868 also. So does she have a brother? I think this is the other Rosalino Candela. So we'll do a search. We've got the 1876, which is here, and we also have 1866. So the age is lining up. Let's see what we've got. No, that was an earlier brother that passed away. So for this Rosalino, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of searching and go into the baptism. Health Rosalino, not a common name. Okay, so we have a few Rosalinos. Who's born in the mid 1860s? We do have Rosalino Candela, and parents are Pietro. So let's see if we have Pietro and Anna. We do have them. I know this part of they're closely related. So they have a son, Rosalino. I don't have them on my tree. I don't have them on the tree yet. So what I'm going to do is, and through the miracle of editing, I'll put all this in and you can see it.
One eternity later.
All right, we have Rosalino in there. He's distantly related so far. Sixth cousin. Again, that's to my great-grandfather. He could be related to my Gargaiano and Ormetta lines. We do have a Social Security claim. I have to see if this is his wife, if he was married to Giuseppe Alessandro. So what I can do is I go into my Carini records. I go to the marriage, like I did for Antonino Cusamano. We're going to go up to Candela. All right, we'll look for Rosalino. And there is one. Married 30 October 1892. Married to Giuseppe D'Alessandro. So we know he immigrated and passed away in the United States. So we're getting closer here. We know that this Social Security record is our guy. Now, it doesn't mean we don't know if he's the one on that 1905 record yet. So now he has a son, Pietro, and that's because the naming pattern that he was the firstborn male, apparently, and his grandfather's name is, paternal grandfather is Pietro. So we also have a death certificate for Pietro, and he died in New York. We'll put that. Yeah, everything's lining up. Well, he died in 1944. So, and it was New York though. So I was thinking maybe the war. We can do a search. We'll see what we've got. Looks like there's a lot of stuff here. I'm gonna have to get in touch with some people. So what I also have is we have the Ellis Island records that were put together, and I can look up when he came over. Now, we don't have a record for when he came over that's indexed here. It doesn't mean he didn't. It does look like we're going to get him on a census record. So we can't necessarily confirm that this Rosalino Candela is the same guy. I'm thinking we've got a pretty good record here. I would say I'm 80% sure, but I'm not going to confirm that. We just don't have enough. So I have no doubt that more of the people on this census record are related, like Michael Di Maria. More than likely they are. I know Di Maria, very, very, very common Italian, Sicilian, or Spanish name. So but I think given how many people we've been able to show so far are related here, I think on more research, I'll be able to show that more are in fact related and from Carini. Hey, I appreciate you watching and getting this far. A lot of information there. I know it's exclusive. I know it dealt a lot with my family, but what I use to find and make the connections applies with with your family or whatever family you're working with. And I'm Mark. This is Epic Genealogy, and again, thanks for watching.